Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to Unparalleled Universe for another action figure review. And today we're taking a look at the brand new Fire and Ice Teegra 1/12 scale figure by FRAZETTA Girls. And to be honest with you, I don't know too much about Fire and Ice. And I don't even know if I've ever even heard of it before I started seeing these figures. It's really like a blind spot for me. Like, I love all kinds of fantasy and sci-fi and comics and cartoons, but for whatever reason, I missed Fire and Ice. Maybe it was before my time or something. But I want to give a huge thank you to FRAZETTA Girls for sending this out to me to take a look at. I do appreciate it. I've been wanting to take a look at what they have going on here. I didn't pick up Dark Wolf because, like I said, I don't really have like a huge attachment to any of these characters, but they did look interesting. But yeah, I'm really happy I have the opportunity to take a look at this one, and if I like it enough, I'll go back and pick up Dark Wolf. But anyways, let's go ahead and get right into it, starting off with the packaging. Obviously, we have some really dope looking artwork. It would have been a shame if they didn't put some amazing artwork on the front of these boxes. So I'm really happy they did that. Really good stuff. Definitely old school fantasy vibes. On the side of the box, it says Fire and Ice Teegra 1/12 scale figure. I hope I'm saying her name right. And then on the back, we get a look at the figure along with all the accessories that she comes with. Up here, we get some information about the character. And then over here, we get some information about the figure, talking about all the articulation, accessories, and all that good stuff. And then down here at the bottom of the box, it gives credits and kind of lets us know who worked on everything on this figure. So that's really cool to see. I was especially happy to see the homie Trevor Williams down there. I didn't even realize he took the pictures for this. And then right here it also says product design and packaging by Eamon O'Donoghue. Shout out to Eamon. He's the one who actually reached out to me to take a look at this figure. So yeah, thank you. And then let's go back to the front here. Oh, on this side we get a really dope shot of the figure. And then you could open this up. We have some really great looking action figure photography of Teegra hanging out with her panther. And I'm sure he is important. It has a name. I'll figure it out by the time I open this up. But yeah, look at that, man. Through the window, you are able to see the figure along with the accessories, and she's looking pretty damn good. But enough about the beautiful looking packaging. Let's go ahead and get her out and take a look. Alrighty, so here we have Teegra right out of the box, along with her pet panther, Shaitan. I believe that's how you say his name. But yeah, as you can see, they look really good together. So yeah, they did a great job with the overall look of both of these characters. Starting off with Teegra, all the sculpting work on her is really nice. The paint is super clean. Everywhere, the paint is like crazy crisp and clean and well done. I especially like what they did with the skin tone. They added some washes and highlights to make it look, you know, really good. Like, and it kind of pops because of those washes. Like, it's not just a solid like skin tone color. And we'll look at the washes in a second when we get closer. But that was something that stood out to me right away, was like, man, they did a great job with the skin tone. And she does have like this top piece, and at first I thought this was going to be like a solid piece of plastic, but it's actually pretty soft, so there's a little bit of give there, and you know, she could still kind of move her arms around. But honestly, this figure does not have very much articulation at all, so you know, this you know, even without the shirt, like, she does, you're not going to be able to pose her very much. You could tell that they were definitely focused on the aesthetic and the overall look and capturing the feel of FRAZETTA style artwork, you know. And I think they did a great job with that. I think these figures definitely do their job. But for me personally, I do wish there was a little bit more articulation here. But let's go ahead and get in close and take a look at the details on this figure, because I think they did some really great work here. Starting off at the face, I think this looks nice, man. The green eyes look good. The lips are well painted. She's got earrings. And like I mentioned, I really like the skin tone. I think it looks very good. And then she does have her hair. The hair is a separate piece, and we'll take a look at that a little bit more in a minute. But as you can see, it's solid black. There's not a whole lot of shading in there or anything. So yeah, they didn't put a whole lot of paint in the hair. But the rest of the figure has some great paint work. Yeah, I think this is a nice looking face. And then moving down to the body, as you can see, the bikini or whatever it is really well painted. Look at the gold and the black up here. All of that is very clean. And then all this looks well done. Not a whole lot going on back here, just a string. But yeah, look at all the shading and stuff in the skin tone here. I think that's cool. So not a whole lot to talk about aside from that. Gets a little heavy right there, but for the most part, the different colors that we see in the skin looks really good. And then she does have this skirt apron thing, or not a skirt, I don't know, loincloth, isn't that what it's called? No, I don't know. But she has this piece, and you can remove it if you pop the figure apart at the torso, you could just slide this off. But as you could see, the knot on mine is kind of crazy, and that's because it came undone and I had to retie it. That was kind of a pain in the ass. But yeah, I like that we could remove this, and this is made out of soft plastic just like the shirt. So there you go. And then not a whole lot going on here. Again, you know, the skin tone looks good throughout with all the different shading and, you know, different colors they worked in there. I think it looks good. I'm always impressed by well done skin tones because like skin is hard to make look good in an action figure, and I think they did a great job with it. So yeah, as far as the details, the paint, and the sculpting work, I think they did a really nice job, and I think the figure looks great. And then for accessories, Teegra does come with a bunch of good stuff, including 3 different heads. So this is the first one. It's the one that we've already looked at, but as I said before, I think this looks really good. She has like a very serious face, not a whole lot of emotion, but I think it looks nice. And then for the second head sculpt, we get an angry facial expression. So this looks pretty good. I will say it was super hard to pop the heads on. I did have to warm them up a little bit. So, you know, that happens sometimes. Not a big deal, but yeah, just a warning. And then for the final head sculpt, Teegra gets a smiling expression. So yeah, I think all 3 of the head sculpts are pretty nice. And the hair is shared between the 3 head sculpts. Like each of the head sculpts doesn't have its own hair. But she does come with 2 different hairstyles. So this is the first one. As you can see, the hair is just kind of laying down. And then you can pull this off. Boom. And then we have this one here where the hair is kind of blowing off to the side. It is a little difficult to get the hair onto the head. It's easier if you take the head off, but you know, we're not going to do that right now. Boom. There we go. So yeah, that's the second hairstyle. And I think this looks good. It's kind of blowing off to the side. I like this one a little more than the laying down flat hairstyle, but it's cool to have these options because even though she only has the 3 heads, you have like these different hair options and you could change things up. So, and then she does come with 3 different sets of hands. So first off, we have a set of open relaxed hands, and then she has a pair of wide open dramatic hands, and then she has a set of gripping hands, and the gripping hands do have the vertical hinge, so that's nice. And then she does come with her pet panther Shaitan, and he looks really good. Check this out. They did a great job sculpting him. You could see like the muscle definition in there, so that's really nice. And he has a little bit of paint work too. At first I thought he was just solid black, but he does have like a little blue grayish kind of shading in there, so that's really cool. It would have been nice if he had like some articulation. I mean, he has a little, like his tail can move and his head can move, but it would be cool if he had like something right here in the torso. The head sculpt on him is really nice. Check that out. We've got him like stalking around. And he actually comes with 2 different heads. And just like Teegra, it's very hard to get his head sculpt off. I had to warm it up at first. But once you warm it up and do it a couple times, it's pretty manageable. There we go. But here's the alternate head sculpt. And as you can see, the main difference is that this one has an articulating jaw, which is nice. And then the eyes are painted a little different. You can see that his eyes are solid yellow, and then his eyes over here, you can see the actual pupils or whatever they're called. But yeah, man, this looks good. This is a cool accessory. I think they could have done a little more with it, but it's going to look dope on the shelf next to the figure. And then as for weapons, Teegra does come with a spear, and this looks pretty good. Not a whole lot to it, but I think it's well done. I like the spear itself, the spearhead. It's got like a metallic color to it, so that's nice. And she looks really dope holding it, so this is a cool weapon. And then she also comes with a dagger, and this looks nice, man. Check out the metallic paintwork on the blade, and then the details on the handle and stuff. And as you can see, she can hold on to it with no problem at all, so that looks good. And then for the final accessory, she comes with this stick. I don't know what the deal is with this, but it looks like a tree branch or something. Maybe she picks this up and, I don't know, has to protect herself in the woods, and all she has is this stick. Who knows? Who knows why the hell she has this big old piece of wood? But yeah, anyways, that's about it for the accessories, you know. I think they included some great stuff. I like the different weapons, the different heads, the hands, and her pet panther. So yeah, I think as far as accessories, they gave her a really good amount of stuff. And then for some size comparisons, here we have Teegra alongside the Masters of the Universe, Masterverse 40th Anniversary He-Man, and the Mezco 112 Collective Conan. I need to get the updated King Conan figure. It's probably really hard to get now. This one is still cool, but, you know, they made some pretty significant updates on the most recent version of him. Anyways, I think that Teegra looks pretty good next to both of these lines. She is kind of small next to He-Man, but I think that kind of works. And she looks really good next to Conan. And then here we have her alongside one of the Zesray Studios Combatants Fight for Glory figures. I don't remember this guy's name. And then on the opposite side, we have the Mythic Legions Purplore. And then next up, we have her alongside the Mythic Legions Valiant Knight and the Mythic Legions Swig. And then next, we have her alongside the Marvel Legends Hercules and the Marvel Legends Thor. Next up, we have her alongside the Jada Toys Street Fighter Cammy and the Marvel Legends Kazar. And then, of course, we have to have Teegra alongside the Marvel Legends Bucky Cap and Marvel Legends Renew Your Vows Spider-Man. And then for the final and most important size comparison, here we have her alongside my original character, Odious from Unparalleled Universe. And then on the opposite side, we have the King, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mirage Comics, Kirby, aka Jack Kirby. And then when it comes to the articulation, to be honest with you, she really doesn't have a whole lot going on. You could tell that articulation was not their focus and they wanted to prioritize on the look and the design and the aesthetic and all that. So yeah, not a whole lot of articulation. You could get her into some basic poses, you know. She does have articulation. It's just not a lot. So there is some posing possibilities, but it is pretty limited. But let's go ahead and see what we have going on here, starting off at the head. So the head is on a ball joint, so she could look side to side, but the hair does get in the way just a little bit. We have a little bit of tilt action. She could look down to about right there. If you want her to look down more, you could get some help from the torso or from the diaphragm cut. So, you know, using both of those, she could look down to right there. Can't really look up no matter what you do. The hair does kind of block it, and I just think that the neck joint doesn't allow for a whole lot of movement going back. So yeah, pretty limited at the head area. And then for the torso, she does have a diaphragm cut, and the diaphragm cut works pretty good. You know, there's some things going on here that tell me that if this company wanted to make like super articulated figures, that they could do a good job with it, because some of the joints here work really well. Mostly the diaphragm cut. So it goes back to about right there, which is nice. And it goes forward to right there, which is pretty decent. Then we get some nice like side to side action. So yeah, pretty good stuff at the diaphragm cut. Nothing at the waist, but like if they had a ball joint at the waist and at the diaphragm, you know, this would all get really good movement. I could understand why they didn't want to put a ball joint here because it would have messed up the look of the waist area. So I understand, but yeah, pretty good stuff at the diaphragm. And then for the arms, they can go all the way around. And, you know, it's kind of weird. She does have like ball joints underneath this shoulder piece. Like they covered the whole thing up so that, you know, it doesn't break up the design or anything. You don't see like a bicep cut, but there is a little bit of, you know, like swivel action in there. It's just kind of hidden underneath this piece. When you lift this up, you could see that there's like a ball joint in there with the hinge and everything. Kind of like how, you know, Mafex does their thigh area. It's very similar to that, or like Sentinel Spider-Man or something, but we just don't get like the same range that we see on those other types of brands. But there is some movement there, so that's pretty interesting. And then there's also a hinge in there, so it allows her arm to go up to about right there. It does get a little tight the further up you go, but it stops at about there. So yeah, pretty interesting stuff here at the shoulder. I mean, like, yeah, I don't know. This is kind of crazy. I'd be interested to see how this would work on a character that has like, that has to use like a rifle or something. Like if they gave it double jointed elbows and then this situation, I wonder if that would be like enough to not have to put a bicep cut in there. I don't know. Just wondering. But yeah, that's interesting. And then at the elbow, she does have a single joint that goes up to right there, like less than 90 really. Maybe about 90. And then at the hand, she has a swivel and a hinge. And then for the legs, she does kind of have a swivel in there, but there's not a lot of movement to it. And she could kick forward to about right there. She can't really go back because then her butt cheek gets all messed up. So you don't want that. But yeah, her big ass kind of like restricts the articulation a little bit. I mean, if it was a little less going on back there, we'd get a little bit more swivel. But yeah, I mean, what's there is fine for a character like this. And then for the knees, she does... Oh, actually, I forgot. She could do the splits as well. So there we go. And then for the knees, she does have single joints. And, you know, they get like only like less than 90. I guess that's pretty much 90. And then she does have a swivel at the knee as well. She could bring her foot forward to right there, come up to right there, and then she does have rocking ankles. So yeah, man, like I said, not a whole lot of articulation possibilities, but you know, if you need like a girl to just be kind of laying there or standing there or maybe running just a little bit, then, you know, she could do the job, but you're not going to be able to get her into like any crazy dynamic like fighting poses or anything. But yeah, I mean, look at that. You could do some cool stuff. That looks pretty good. The diaphragm cut definitely helps her get into a lot of good, I mean, not good, but like some pretty good like looking poses. So that's nice, but I wish the arms and legs just had a little bit more going on, especially like the knees and elbows. But yeah, you know, not a whole lot of articulation, but I do feel like if they wanted to give us super articulated figures, they could do a good job with it. There's little things here and there that just kind of tell me that they know what they're doing, but in this case, it was just kind of like a design choice to kind of limit the cuts on the figure and prioritize the aesthetic. So yeah, there we go. And then as far as her pet panther, the only articulation he has is at the tail. There's a little ball joint there, so that moves around a little bit. And then at the head, there's also a ball joint. So you could kind of rotate the head like that, go up like that. Oh, actually, it doesn't even really go up. So there's some articulation, but not really a whole lot. So as far as the articulation goes, they definitely kept it pretty limited. Alrighty, so overall, at the end of the day, when the smoke clears, the dust settles, and it's all said and done, this is kind of a weird one, because to be honest with you, I don't necessarily think this figure is my cup of tea. I still think it's a good figure, but I tend to like things that have a little bit more articulation, and I could look past minimal articulation if I have an attachment to the character or there's something else that's drawing me to the figure itself, and that's just not the case with Teegra. But not to say she's a bad figure at all. In fact, I think that she's pretty damn incredible. And in my opinion, for what they were going for, they absolutely nailed it. Like, this is a beautiful looking figure that's really well sculpted. The paintwork on her is phenomenal. I especially like what they did with the skin tone. Right out of the box, that caught my eye, and I think it looks good. But all of the paint is nice. Everything is so crisp and clean and well done. I love the accessories too. I like the fact that she comes with several different heads, different hairstyles, hands, weapons, and she even comes with her pet panther, Shaitan, which is kind of like a whole nother character, so it's basically like a 2-pack. Not really like a full-on 2-pack, but you know, there's a lot there in the set, and I think it's a really good offering. And I feel like people that love Fire and Ice and that are big fans of Frazetta artwork will love this figure, especially when you pair it with some of the other figures that they've released and that they have coming out. Like, imagine her next to Dark Wolf on some type of cool like mountain diorama. It would look phenomenal. So I do think that everybody involved did a really great job for what they were going for. It just doesn't necessarily appeal to me personally. I do feel like, you know, when it comes to the articulation, even though that's not really like a priority of theirs in this case, I do feel like there were some areas where we could have got just a little bit more articulation without sacrificing any of the aesthetics. But, you know, they made their choices on this figure, and, you know, I'm sure they had their reasons. So it's all good. I'm not really going to criticize it because obviously articulation wasn't a priority on this figure. It's obviously all about the aesthetic, the look, and the design. And when it comes to that stuff, they killed it. So yeah, I think they did a nice job with it. And I want to give a huge thank you to FRAZETTA Girls for sending this out to me to take a look at. I really do appreciate it. I'd be really interested in seeing what they could do if they did focus on articulation, because there are certain things on here that make me think that they would do a really good job with something that had a bunch of articulation. So hopefully they decide to take a stab at it in the future, but we'll see. For now, I think they're doing a great job with this whole Fire and Ice line, and I really think that fans of the franchise will enjoy these figures. So yeah, that's dope. And with that, I think that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Also, be sure to hit the bell notification so you know every time that I go live. Thank you very much. Peace.